If you're involved in groups that promote the education of children without involving schools, pretty soon you'll spot something which is referred to as home ed time. This is a situation where people have a relaxed attitude towards punctuality, and they will tend to turn up at particular times at groups, or they'll turn up at particular times at things that you're doing together, which is influenced, I think, by the needs of the children. As a result, if a child needs, for example, to be changed or fed, you're not going to be able to come out and go to a group immediately or go to a particular time commitment easily. And as a result, you have to have a flexible attitude towards time if you're child-centred, most people would say. Now, this is known as polychronic time. The contrast with it is monochronic time. Usually when people define themselves as home educators, they are operating within a monochronic society, but they often practice polychronic time. Now, I don't want to criticise either of those, I just want to present them and look at a few problems. Monochronic time is dominant in northern societies such as Scandinavia, Germany, Australia, that is societies influenced strongly by northern societies, and England. It's partly characterised by a linear view of time. Now, there are different linear views of time, because you could be going in that direction, you could be going in that direction, or that direction, or you could be going that way or that way. So it's not quite as simple as it seems, but that is obviously contrasted with the polychronic view of time, which is cyclical, although again that cycle could be in a different plane, or it could be clockwise or anti-clockwise. So there are differences there. Now, the societies which are monochronic are responsible for the Industrial Revolution, and also, as a result, responsible for the idea of compulsory schooling. Just to run through the differences between the two. Monochronic people, because there are monochronic people as well as monochronic societies, they tend to do one thing at a time, so they don't multitask. They concentrate on the job in hand. They take time commitments seriously. They tend to divide time up into small units. They are low context and need information. They are committed to a job or a task. It doesn't have to be a paid job. They stick to plans. They prize privacy and consideration. They seldom borrow or lend. They respect private property. They stress promptness, and they're accustomed to short-term relationships. Polychronic people and polychronic societies multitask. They're highly distractible. They consider objectives as something to be achieved if possible, rather than being focused on the objective. They're high context and they already have information. They're committed to people and human relationships. They change plans easily. They're concerned about close relatives. Now, I think that should be interpreted more broadly in this context, more than privacy. And they borrow and lend often, which is something that we do see in home ed community quite a lot. They base promptness on the relationship, and they tend to build lifetime relationships. Now, how to fit these two together? Because we're in a monochronic society, and we are sometimes polychronic people. Some of us are monochronic people. I am very much monochronic, because there are various problems with this, and the question is, do we change them, or do we concede to them as a way of getting somewhere? For example, structure in education may mean following a syllabus or a curriculum in a linear sense. That would be in a monochronic sense. So you have separate subjects, exams at a specific time, and the idea that you have a progression through the subjects. Or you can take a more modular approach, in which case you would have separate subjects within a subject. They would tend to be individual topics which you can pursue for a while. If you're going to be more child-centred about that, the chances are you will follow that. But that doesn't mean you're unstructured, because the structure can be in your head. You come up with all the structure first, and then you attempt to follow that structure with the child, taking the opportunities as they arise. So it's like a bingo card. You go through the curriculum or the syllabus in your head, if you want one, and you fill them in as they go along. Some things depend on other things and other things don't. Now, certain that means that you have to work in a particular way. If you're going to try to compromise with monochronic society, you will have exams at a specific time, and you will have to work through a syllabus at a particular time, or you will at least have to have the knowledge in that syllabus. Now, I just wanted to come back to the issue of relationships. If you have a situation where people are more committed to people and human relationships, and the promptness is based on the relationship, you have a situation where cliques can easily develop. People who are polychronic may prefer to have the people around them, and then there are more distant people, so they form a community with which they can more easily relate, because we're not designed to know lots of people. And so we will have longer term relationships if we're polychronic, and we will also have a community around us, but that community will be somewhat isolated from the rest of society. I also think that if you're trying to work with a monochronic society, so for example you might want to turn up at a particular community centre at a particular time and organise things so that people can come and benefit from each other's company, playing with each other, and perhaps learning something more formal as well, that means that the monochronic people are going to be doing more work than the polychronic people, as far as I can see, because they'll be the people who set up and tidy away, and the polychronic people will be the people who benefit from that. Now the question is there also work in the polychronic side of things which monochronic people don't do, like for example feeding the children at not a particular time but when they need to, expending energy on having to switch attention and that kind of thing. So I think probably there is also work in that area. Now just briefly, the blue soda bread, and that can't happen until I can have enough money to buy a red cabbage, so that's not going to happen yet, but I'm planning to do that for the next video. I just wanted to summarise that, and this is sort of an experiment as doing it as a vlog rather than a blog.